everybody. Welcome to a brand new episode of Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529, Missouri's education savings plan. You can learn all about it right now at MissouriMost.org. I'm Andrew Buchbinder. We're here in the home dugout at Hammons Field, wrapping up a big week in the world of baseball, with Major League Baseball announcing its season to start up here at the tail end of July. And also some big news here in Springfield, as we've been selected as the site for the St. Louis Cardinals taxi squad during the regular season also. So lots to still be learned about what all that's going to mean. Basically, the rundown is we're going to have some St. Louis Cardinals reserve players here in town working out on the field here at Hammons Field to be ready in case St. Louis needs them throughout their year. So we'll continue to learn more about all that and continue to keep everybody in the loop as well. Big show this week also. You know, we've got a brand new episode of Bird Bites brought to you by American National. We've got Irving Lopez, Cardinals second baseman from last year's team, joining us here in a bit. We've got more of Dan's stuff to give away. Dan Reiter, our VP and GM, giving away some fun stuff every week. Last week's winner, by the way, congratulations to Robin Walker. Robin, you won an autographed baseball by Carlos Martinez and Jairo Munoz. We're going to send you a message on Facebook here in just a little bit to coordinate the pickup of that. But to enter to win Dan's stuff this week, all you have to do, comment on this video at any point or like this video, and we'll pick a new winner for Dan's stuff that we're going to be giving away here in just a little bit. We've also got Grounds Crew Yard Tips, of course, brought to you by Ryan Lawn and Tree. And to kick it all off, we are happy to welcome in a park ranger from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to talk about all the things we need to know leading into the big holiday weekend, as we welcome in Gina Pate. Well, joining us here on Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529 with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, we welcome in Park Ranger Gina Pate. And Gina, first and foremost, thank you so much for joining us. How are you, and how's the U.S. Army Corps team doing?
Yeah, thanks for having us, and we're doing good. We're hanging in there. We're pretty busy at the moment, so we're doing good.
Yeah, this is prime time for you guys. I know we normally have you down at the ballpark every start to the summer, right around this time frame, and one of the biggest things is obviously everybody is doing anything they can do to get on the water and cool off and have fun, which is all great. But there's another side of that, and that is being safe as you do all of that.
Yeah, that's correct. Especially this year, people are trying to get out of the house in any way possible. So we have been really, really busy. We just always like to remind our visitors, wear your life jacket, know where you're going when you're on the water and off the water, and know the conditions that you're coming into, and we just want you to have a good time when you come out.
So we went down to Table Rock a couple weeks ago, and I could not believe how high the water level is. I mean, taller than even some trees that are normally visible. What are some tips that you guys have for folks in making sure you're staying safe, even in conditions like this with some abnormally high water levels?
Yep. Just, again, wear your life jacket. You never know what's going to happen out there. You could be boating along and run into something and you're in a boat crash and you don't know that's coming. So we definitely always encourage you to wear your life jacket. If you're going to a beach area, you may not always be able to see what's under the water. So just be careful and know where you're going and know your surroundings as well, so that if you do get in a predicament, you know how to get out pretty quick.
Yeah, and the surroundings is interesting because I know, it can, depending on the water level, the surroundings can look a little bit different, right? I mean, it can look, it's things that you normally see on the shore, you might not see. Are there ways for folks to try to prepare a little bit before they head out on the water to kind of know the conditions that they're getting into?
Yeah. Well, we always like to tell people to, number one, check the weather. A lot of people get caught out on the lake in storms and they don't know they're coming. They could just be pop-up showers or pop-up storms and they don't know. So, if you have your phone out there, watching that's a good tip. Know and prepare your boat if you're going to be out there, if you're going to be at a beach. Just make sure that you are just aware of what's going on, aware of the weather.
Hi, this is Chloe. I'm in our company.
Sorry, that's our fax machine.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, just prepare your boat. Make sure you've got gas. In Missouri, you're supposed to have a life jacket for every single person on your boat. Anybody over 7 doesn't have to be wearing that, but they are required for every person. So make sure you have all the required equipment and fire extinguishers, whistles, all that good stuff on your boat, and you'll be set.
Yeah, and I think one of the maybe one of the misconceptions about getting out there is you might think, well, I grew up on the lake, or I'm a good swimmer, or whatever, you know, your background is that might make you really confident in your own abilities. But the point that you guys always like to hammer home is throw that life jacket on anyway. It doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are, because you never know, like you said, what's going to happen. And you know, if God forbid, but if an accident happens, you're unconscious, it doesn't matter how good of a swimmer you are.
Yeah, that's correct. And we always like to emphasize, you may be a great swimmer, but just like you said, you know, you may knock your head in a crash. You may, you know, break your arm or something like that, and you can't swim at that point. So having that life jacket is a really good safety net to lean on.
So we're chatting with you right before, obviously, a big weekend coming up next week, the 4th of July, which I'm sure is like your guys' Super Bowl probably out there on the lake and just in the campgrounds and hiking trails. Do you have some tips for folks who want to get outdoors for the holiday weekend?
Yeah, we're excited. We're rolling. We've been open since around the 1st of June across the district. So everybody's kind of in the groove already. We're ready for people to come out. If you are looking to come camping, if you don't already have a reservation, we definitely recommend, with everything going on in the world right now, that you make your reservation ahead of time. A lot of our campgrounds aren't taking reservations at the booth, or their credit or debit card only. So making those reservations before you come is a sure way to have a spot and make sure that you're going to have a good weekend with us. Those reservations can be made at recreation.gov. We just like to tell people that, get that website out there. And they do have a mobile app as well. It's a little bit easier to run sometimes than the online version. So we just want you to have a safe trip out. Make sure that you are using and following those CDC guidelines and social distancing. And we haven't had many problems so far, so we're excited. We're ready.
Yeah, because that's, you know, one of the things, I mean, right now, one of the healthiest things we could do always, but especially right now, is to get outside.
Yes.
But, you know, to remember that there is still this, you know, pandemic going on. And is that the primary thing that you guys suggest, is trying to keep a little bit of distance when you're out there, either in a campground or a hiking trail, you know, where you might be coming into close contact with more people?
Yep. Yeah. And we have been stressing our facilities are cleaned routinely. So there are those common areas, and we are just asking people, if you are and you have to be in those common areas, wash your hands frequently, use hand sanitizer, obviously keep that social distancing if you can. And a lot of our campers and a lot of our campsites are electric. And so those folks have campers, they have facilities inside their campers. And so we're recommending that they use those as well.
Yeah, that sounds great. Well, we really appreciate it. Park Ranger Gina Pate joining us from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Gina, thanks so much for your time. Thank you for all of the work that you guys do, and helping keep all of us safe, and making sure that we enjoy all of our natural resources in as safe a way as possible. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us.
Players in the major leagues come from all over the world, and a Missouri Most 529 education plan can help your child study all over the world too. A Most 529 is a tax-deferred investment account you can use to pay for educational expenses at any eligible institution in the United States or abroad. These include universities, colleges, even trade or vocational schools. You can use it to pay for expenses like tuition, books, computers, and much more. Help your child go further by opening a Most 529 today. We made it easy to get started at MissouriMost.com/529facts.
Hey, Cardinals fans. Thanks for tuning in for the Fly Together show. I'm Regina Norris, and this is the We Love Our Fans segment. Joining me today is one of my favorite furry friends, Boo, with her best friend, Ball. We are going to help bring to your screen some Cardinals pets at Hammons Field. So if you haven't already, go ahead and grab your own furry friends, and let's see what we have for this week's episode. Thank you again to everyone who shared their Cardinals pets at Hammons Field with us. We really do miss seeing all of you at the ballpark and can't wait to see you again. Next week we are going to bring another Cardinals feature to your screens, so be sure to tune in, and we'll see you next time on the We Love Our Fans segment.
Well, it's time for a brand new edition of Bird Bites, brought to you by American National, as we catch up with 2019 Cardinals second baseman Irving Lopez, joining us right now on Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529. Well, we've got a new edition of Bird Bites, brought to you by American National, and we welcome in our good friend, Cardinals infielder Irving Lopez. And this is exciting for a lot of reasons. One, we always love to catch up with Irving, but this is our first international edition of Bird Bites. Irving, you're at home in Mexico, right?
Yes, that's right. I mean, I'm in Mexico. I'm at home, and then thank you for having me. I mean, it's a pleasure to talk to you guys, to see you guys at least. I mean, I know we can't be there, but it's a pleasure to be with you guys here.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you joining us. How before we start firing some questions at you, how's your family doing? Is everybody doing okay down there?
Yeah, everybody's doing well here. I mean, we're taking care of ourselves. I mean, I'm taking care of my parents. I mean, that's the reason I came here, is just to help them out and do whatever I can do for them and make them stay at home, you know?
So when was the last time, because you went to college in Florida, which obviously it's hot in Florida too, it's hot everywhere, but when was the last time that you were at home in Mexico for some June heat down there?
Oh, it's been years. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out how to deal with it, because it's been years since I've been here in June. Actually, we were talking about that, like, I think 2 days ago with my parents, and I was like, no, it's horrible. I mean, here it's one of the hottest cities on earth, and it's tough. But I mean, you get used to it little by little.
It seems like your hair's handling quarantine pretty well.
I mean, it's long. It's pretty long. I mean, it's not as long as Evan's, but I mean, it's pretty long. I saw his video, and
you got good volume.
It's hanging in there. I mean, I'm not planning on cutting it until I get to college to go back, but I mean, we'll see how that goes.
Oh, this will be great. So maybe you'll get the Evan Krasinski flow going.
I don't think it's going to get that long, but I mean, we'll try. I guess we'll try. We'll try something new.
Well, hey, we'll dive right in. And for our first question, Matt Turry, you want to take it away?
Yeah, so what MLB stadium, besides Busch, of course, do you dream of playing in the most?
I love Chase Field. I mean, I grew up in Arizona, so I mean, it was always a dream to play at Chase Field one day. So I mean, that's probably one of the best stadiums that I want to play in. I mean, the other one would be Dodger Stadium. I mean, as a kid, I was a Dodgers fan, and playing at Dodger Stadium at night will be one of my dreams. Yeah.
Have you ever watched a game from that pool in their outfield at Chase?
No, I mean, I never got to watch the pool. I mean, I was next to the pool, but no, I was not in the pool. I was in the bleachers, but I mean, no, I mean, I guess it's a pretty cool stadium. I mean, it has everything. It has a rooftop. It has AC, a pool. I mean, I think it's a complete stadium. Well, myself, I can tell you that it's one of my dreams to play there.
Yeah, I'd be all in for the AC. That's nice.
Especially Arizona heat. Yeah,
it's
nice.
You need it. Well, hey, are you a dog person or a cat person?
I'm a dog person. Yeah, I have 2 dogs right now with me. So yeah.
What kind of dogs are they?
One is a French poodle, and then the other one we rescued, and we have no idea what kind of dog it is. I mean, we rescued him as a baby, and then we never figured out what kind of dog was it.
Well, good for you for rescuing him. So what's your favorite home cooked meal?
Oh man, my mom makes it tough. I mean, there's a lot. I mean, my mom, she grew up here in Mexico with my grandma, and she taught her a lot of plates. I mean, so I don't know. I think I would say I don't know, menudo. I mean, or pinga or enchiladas. I mean, my mom's enchiladas are one of the best things I've ever had, to be honest. I mean, I know I go to restaurants and I order them, and they're not the same. I mean, it's not the same as my mom's.
No, I'm sure. That sounds amazing right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's 11:15 here, so I'm probably gonna ask her if she can make some right now, because I kind of want some now.
Yeah, I just had lunch, and this is like making me want second lunch. So, all right, what is one thing? Can be anything in the world that you've always wanted to do that you haven't been able to do yet.
I mean, one thing was to fly, but I mean, I don't think that's gonna be able to happen. But
fly like yourself?
Yeah, myself. Like they always ask me like, what kind of superpower would you want to have? And I was like, well, fly. That's one thing, but I mean, I see it pretty far away from that happening. But I mean, one thing that I've been done, I mean, probably play in the big leagues. I mean, that's one of my dreams. So, but other than that, flying. I'd be flying.
So what about like skydiving? That's kind of like flying, but like falling.
That's actually my plans for my birthday's coming up. I mean, June 30th. So, I mean, I don't think it's open, but I mean, that was my plan to do it on my birthday. Go skydiving with my sister, but no, I don't think that's happening. But we'll have to prolong that and see when that happens. But yeah, that's the closest I'm gonna get to flying, I guess.
All right, what's your best Little League memory?
I think, we were playing in California one day, and I think it was on Visalia. Yeah. And, no, Eureka, California. And then we did a triple play. I remember that game. I mean, we were, 10 years old, and it was the biggest play we've ever made. I mean, it was a routine line drive. We grabbed it, threw it to me, I threw it to first, and we finished the triple play, and the whole team literally hugged on second base. Like, it was like we did something amazing. I think it was the 5th inning still. Like, so the game wasn't even over. Like, we all were jumping around on second base. So it was. I think that's one of my best memories that I'm never gonna forget. Were you playing second base or short? I was playing short back then. Yeah. Yeah. I was the shortstop. So I threw to first. Once I threw to first, everybody else came to second, and we all started jumping around second base. So I think that was pretty cool. If you had to be quarantined with a current teammate, who would it be? I think it would be either Montero or Yepes. So, I mean, it's one of those. I mean, I used to live with Yepes when I was in Palm Beach. So, I mean, we got along pretty well. Montero, I mean, he's one of the best friends in the Cardinals organization. So, I mean, I think one of those in Springfield, yeah. I mean, Cruz, too. I mean, Cruz, I get along with Cruz. I mean, I lived with him in Springfield for like about a week before he left to Memphis. So, if you couldn't play baseball, what pro sport would you play? Soccer. Soccer. Yeah, I mean, I was a soccer fan growing up. I mean, there was I think it was until high school I decided just to play baseball. I tried out for my soccer team on my freshman year actually in high school, and then after all that running on the tryouts, I was like, I'm done. Like, I'm sticking to baseball. Like, I was out. Like, it was too much running. I was like, I'll just stick to baseball my whole life and see what happens.
So this is kind of a walking question, not necessarily a running question. But if you're in an airport and you know how some airports have like the moving sidewalks, do you take the moving sidewalk or do you walk next to the moving sidewalk?
I definitely take it. I think it's one of the coolest things in the airports. I mean, I see people don't take it, and I'm like, why? Like, you make up time and you have fun at the same time, you know? Like, I think it's one of the coolest things ever.
So then what makes less sense? The people that don't take them or the people that take them and don't walk? Because then they're really going slower than the walker.
If you don't walk, I mean, that's just being lazy, I guess. I mean, I think I walk and then you walk a little bit faster. I mean, you're not running, but you walk faster. Like, it's a different feeling of walking, you know? I feel like, I don't know if you understand me. Like, you're walking, but you're walking fast, but you're not running. Like, so it's pretty cool. I mean, yeah, if you're not walking, then why are you going to take it? Like,
all right, if you had to perform at a talent show, what would you do?
I have no idea. I remember my senior year, we did it was like the Mr. Hawk thing that they had. And I was one of the contestants, the seniors, they picked seniors. And I had to do a talent show, and I had no idea what was going on. I had no idea what I was going to do. And then one of my friends asked me, well, they told me, I think around that time, Pitch Perfect was a huge thing. So my friend came out with the idea. He's like, hey, why don't we do it? Why don't we do an acapella like performance? And I was like, no, you're crazy. I can't sing. Like, are you kidding? And then she was like, come on, let's do it. Okay, so we did it. I have 4 of my friends doing the sounds back there, and I was singing. And when I saw the video of that, like a couple of days later, I was so embarrassed. Like, I had no idea what I got myself into. Like, it sounded horrible. I couldn't see the people because the light was on me, so it was horrible. So I mean, after that, I was like, why didn't I pick something else? Like, I mean, I embarrassed myself. Even my high school coach, my baseball coach, like, hey, just put ourselves and our team in a horrible situation. You just embarrass ourselves. And I was like, was it that bad? And he was like, yeah. Like, until I saw the video a couple of days after, it was horrible.
Do you want to try to redeem yourself?
No way. No. I told myself I'll never sing in front of people ever again. It was that bad.
All right, the last question before we let you go. What so far in your professional career, what's been your favorite moment?
Oh, I think I would say the walk-off in Springfield. I mean, I've probably hit one walk-off in my entire baseball career, travel ball, everything, you know, like. And that first walk-off against Northwest Arkansas, it was pretty special. I mean, we haven't won a game, and it was I think we were 0-7, and it was so cold. It was so cold that night. I mean, I come from a city that is really hot. I mean, so it was like that night it was a special night because it was my first professional walk-up. So it was a cool moment. Seeing my teammates waiting for me and seeing Cruzan smile at third. I mean, it was a special moment. Getting our first win of the season and in that kind of way.
Then you hit one a couple days later too, didn't you?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I couldn't believe it. I was running the bases and I was just thinking about it. It's like, there's no way this just happened. I mean, I remember seeing Scotty, I think Scotty Hurst was in front of me, and I was like, oh, no way, I just did this. Like, so it was a special moment. It was a special week. I mean, it was a cool moment to see my teammates and everybody else at home play waiting for me. I mean, I think that's a special moment, and to do it in one series, twice in one series, it was really special.
Irving, we appreciate you joining us. It's great to see you. We hope that you and your family continue to stay well down there, and hopefully we'll get you back on the field soon and get some more walk-offs out of you here in the near future.
Hopefully. Thank you guys for having me, and I miss you guys, miss Springfield, miss everybody, miss baseball. So hopefully we get back soon. I mean, hopefully this is all over soon, and then we get back to the field.
Thanks, Irving.
See you guys. Thank you.
Hey, it's Matt Turer, the Cardinals social media guy. We're back with another week of Grounds Crew Yard Tips presented by Ryan Lawn and Tree. This month is Smart Irrigation Month, so we're going to be talking to Derek Edwards about smart irrigation tips.
As we head into the summer months and it starts to heat up, you might have noticed your yard starting to brown up. It's time to probably fire up the irrigation system if you have one, or you could even drag the hose out to kind of supplement the moisture in the ground. Some helpful tips for irrigating your month where we don't overwater our yards is one, make sure to if you have a sprinkler system, make sure to check it. Make sure all your heads are not watering the sidewalk or the street, so we're not wasting water that way. A typical lawn needs 1 inch to 1.5 inches of rainfall and or irrigated water a week to survive in the summer months. The best way to check that, and kind of a cool tip, is if you have a sprinkler system, is to get a couple of tin cans and place out in the yard and run your system and see how long it takes to get 1 inch of water, so you know how long to set your time on your sprinkler system. Another helpful tool that you can have in your toolbox for irrigating your yard and saving water is using a smart controller. Smart controllers hook up to weather stations, and it can bring in information like evaporation during the day and temperatures. You could set parameters to where your yard only waters at certain times. So you could set it so if we get 2 inches of rainwater in a week, it'll tell that controller not to run the program that you have set up. Also, a good recommendation is to have a rain sensor for your house. So if you get a spot shower at your house, it'll shut your controller off and you won't be wasting any water while irrigating your yard. The proper time to water your yard is going to be in the morning time, early before 10 a.m. If you can't water during that time, it's recommended that you water between 4 and 6 in the evening. You don't want to water during the daytime because you're going to lose a third of that water that you're putting out from your sprinkler system due to evaporation. So it's best to set your programs up to run in the morning between the 5 a.m. and 10 a.m. time frame. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.
Well, we've got one of my favorite segments coming up. It is time for Stuff Under Dan's Desk, as Dan Reiter, our Vice President and General Manager, continues to give away his stuff each week on the show. Another reminder, enter to win Dan's stuff right now by commenting on this video or liking this video, and we'll pick a winner in next week's show. So without further ado, we bring in Dan Reiter. Well, we bring in Dan Reiter, our Vice President and General Manager, for a brand new edition of Stuff Under Dan's Desk here on Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529. And Dan, we've done a couple rounds of this. Sorry.
Murphy wants the items, doesn't he? Murphy wants them. I don't blame him.
We interview by committee over here. You want to restart?
No, I think it's funny.
Okay, we're gonna keep going. Murph, you're famous, buddy. So we've done a couple rounds of this. Last week, the 2 autographed baseballs, Carlos Martinez and Jairo Munoz. Brand new collection of stuff under your desk this week. What did you find under there?
Well, I keep finding more. Like, we just keep cleaning in the stadium. Actually, today I opened up another closet of random stuff to clean out. So the next time we have a garage sale, I think we've got some great items for fans. But for the current time being, we are going to give away some stuff, and we're going to start with one of the items I was actually the most excited to give away last year because that was so cool, of a Cardinal great, but also about something that's more than just baseball. And that's whenever St. Louis gave away the double bobblehead of Roberto Clemente and Yadi Molina. I thought that was just such a tremendous item that they were doing. We were so thrilled that they allowed us to be a part of that and give that away here. I loved it. The only part that's been bad is in my own house, my children always take the flag out and start playing with it. So this flag has been part of PJ Masks. It's been part of Legos. But for all of the adults, you can put it right there in Yadi's hand to kind of commemorate both Roberto Clemente and Yadi Molina. Both receiving the award and both of them being from Puerto Rico. I think it's just such a cool thing that both of them had, or it can be used in children's toys as well. So I do have that, but then I also have, I think the autographed baseballs are funny. They're fun, people like them, but it's also over time you accrue a lot of them. So I actually found some Brett Cecil. So we had Brett Cecil also rehab here. Very nice guy. But he autographed some that we have. So today we're going to get both an autographed baseball and a double bobblehead underneath Dan's desk.
Very cool. So, yeah, two iconic players. You got Yadi and Roberto Clemente, and a Brett Cecil autographed baseball. I can't beat that. There they are, up close and personal.
Yeah, Murph is not allowed to win. So unless Murph can, I know he was trying to chime up and say he wanted them, but your dog, Murphy, he is not eligible because I don't think he knows how to either like it or comment on it.
He's displeased right now, but yeah, that's understandable. You do have to comment on this video or like this post to enter to win the very cool Yadi and Roberto Clemente double bobblehead, as Murph shuffles in the background again, and the Brett Cecil autographed baseball, as well as we continue to give out your stuff. So very cool. Dan, I know some baseball news this week, kind of going back and forth, but it looks like we're going to have some Major League Baseball at some point, and that's good for all of us, right?
That's great. I mean, I can't wait to be able to sit on my back deck and watch the St. Louis Cardinals, and I think the news is going to keep on coming on what the season's going to look like. And I think, baseball, if you're a baseball fan, you're usually a lifelong baseball fan, and this year is going to be weird and it's going to be different, but sometimes that can be exciting. So I'm excited to see what the season looks like and how it's different. And it's just going to be so exciting to be able to sit down and watch it again. I'm thoroughly excited. So I guess the question though, Andrew, are you going to be watching that at home and trying to actually mute the TV and then call it yourself?
If I do, nobody will ever know. So that'll Murph and I will call the games over here. But
we already learned that he will call you out.
He will, and we'll have to get Nate involved too. After we did those PlayStation games, we got a whole setup going. So, yeah, we'll see. But you're right; it's gonna be weird and different. But everything is weird and different right now. So you might as well have baseball.
Yeah, I definitely I believe in making lemonade. So we'll try to do that. Turn the lemons into lemonade and enjoy the season. So I'm thoroughly excited, and I hope all of Cardinals Nation is as well.
Yeah, sounds great. Well, Dan, we'll let you go, but thanks for giving away your stuff. Very cool double bobblehead and autographed baseball, and we'll catch up with you next week.
All right, see you, Andrew.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529. I want to say another big thank you to all of our guests this week, including Gina Pate, Park Ranger from the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, Irving Lopez joining us for Bird Bites, Derek Edwards doing a great job with the grounds crew yard tips as always, and Dan Reiter as well for giving away his stuff. Our production team is Kent Shelton, Matt Turr, TJ Patton, and Regina Norris. I'm Andrew Buchbinder saying thank you again for tuning in and joining us. Have a great week. Have a very happy and safe 4th of July next weekend. And we'll talk to you next Sunday here on Fly Together, brought to you by Most 529.